Hello people didn't know how it's all doing today. Today we're talking about, as one person said in the comment section, I think it was Thursday. Oh, it wasn't Thursday maybe, it was Wednesday maybe. I don't have his name now, I've looked but now. But he basically said this country needs a backbone, and he's pretty right to be honest. Everybody needs a backbone. And what I mean by backbone, I don't mean by everybody has a backbone or anything like that, it's not science. We need to get a backbone and fight harder for our rights and for independence. Yeah, man, Seamus. Yes, that's his name. So he basically said this country needs to man up. In other words, he didn't say backbone. He said man up. Sorry. He's dead right. Like we are living in this country, 4 million on this side of the island anyway. We let the government off with way too much. Way too much. Like in France, they literally have enough. They literally have enough of the government, and Belgium have enough of it too. And they're like, fuck it, I have enough. And going out in the streets and protesting. Which is dead right. It's their democratic right to go out and protest. You're not happy with something, you have your right. You have a right to say, no, I'm not happy with it. It's the same with anything. Say if you bought a box of chocolates and they're out of date, 10 weeks out of date, you have the right to bring it back and say, I want my money back or what a refund. You have the right. You have your rights and you have your human dignity and respect, your human respect. And so what I can say about we should stand and fight for a better republic is this crack with the housing crisis and with the people getting affected, which is making going to make the housing crisis worse if we keep letting this happen and let them be kicked on the streets. Like, say Fitz in the power, I could go the homeless shelter I can't think of the name now. Father Kevin, his place, I can't think of the name of it in Dublin, a shelter. Which is it's all charitable causes. The government's not doing anything to help these people. But these people, these mugs, Father Kevin and the rest of his crew, which the Pope met, they are legends. Because they're out. And they're using their own money. And they're using charity, they collect them for charity. And they're helping the homeless. I don't take Uachtar the Hare and Preston Higgins of Ireland, Preston Michael D. Higgins, knows that there's so many people dying on the streets or lying on the streets. Because there'll be a lot more lying on the streets, let me tell you, by next year, if we don't get our act together. And as this man said, yeah, Seamus, he said we're taking in migrants, and he's right. The EU is making us take in 5,000 migrants or something, I don't know, it's a big number, any of migrants. And it's not too far away from me, there's a few of them, and I'm not very pleased with it because they left in hotels, which is on our taxpayer money. I mean, sure, we're taking a few if we had room. I don't have a problem taking in a few. But if we don't have any room, like there's no houses for the people of Ireland that's already been here for hundreds and hundreds of years. There's no place for them. Like, everybody knows this, and even military minds will know this. If you have a firefighter or anything like that, they will know. If you deal with the fire first, if it's a small fire, don't let it go into a big huge fire that will engulf the whole place. You tackle the small problem, which is the housing crisis here, with the people with 4 million people on the island, instead of taking in maybe another million. Because Ireland will have about 6 or 7 million by the end of. Nearly by 2025, somebody said, I remember seeing that article on the computer. 2026, sorry. So that's the way it's going. It's like, good God, we won't have houses for anybody, and that's really the simple if it's going to be that bad. Like, we have to quell the problem. Like, we should know that this is not right to let people lie in the streets and die in the streets with children and old people. And people getting affected, like in Roscommon and we've seen in Cavan recently. And the health service crisis and lack of beds. Old people are getting treated badly by staff in nursing homes. Local crime rates gone up through the roof. Gangland in Dublin going absolutely nuts. Our prison system's overcrowded. It could go on. There's really not education's absolutely useless in this country because they're terrified to even do anything with it. Because as they always say about Finland, and I do mean about Finland, the Finland's a way, way better country than Ireland. I would nearly recommend Irish people to go to Finland and stay in Finland, and because they make more of a life in Baltic countries, because they're happy countries, Baltic countries. I never heard anybody ever complain about one of them. Like, they just sit there and don't say anything. Like, you never hear Finland on the news. It's always America. America has the biggest ships in the world. Oh, lovely, lovely. But do they have the best minds in the world? That's what we should ask. Because gun laws in America, there's more guns in Finland, may I add. People have more guns in Finland, like there's wild animals in Finland. And they have guns for hunting wild animals. And in America they have guns and they just shoot each other with them, which is upsetting. But I don't know why I got onto that. It's about how the government system. Well, demonetized. How nice. No, but I was just kind of saying, like, we meet to fight. Everybody meets to fight. Like, it's no point politicians and like me and other people fighting for this if we don't have people's support. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's one man, as it says, I think Charles Schwab put out, one man hasn't the right to change the boundaries of a nation, hasn't the right or something. Hasn't the right. It's on O'Connor Street. It's the monument there. I can't remember. I think it's Charles Schwab put out. No man has the right to fix No man has the right to fix the boundaries of a nation. That's it. And what he means by that, there's only one man can't change. Well, one man can change history, but one man can't fix a country, because you need a whole group of people to fix a country. You need people who know what they're doing, like in finance and all that. You need tons and tons of help. Like, one man can't fix a country. One man can't change a society. One man can't fight a battle for rights and for human rights. Because, as it says in our constitution, they strike for her freedom. And that's something we should take. No, we're not in a constitution, a proclamation, sorry. We keep saying constitution instead of proclamation recently. That we should strike for our freedom. And we should look at ourselves today and say, do we have our freedom we would want? Do we have the freedom of speech? The freedom of movement? The freedom that we can go to school? The freedom of a proper education? The freedom to live our lives? Do we have proper healthcare? Do we have proper water supplies and food and shelter? Because I could name about 7 things there that this country does not have. We don't have enough houses. We don't have good healthcare. We hit some places unless you go privatised, which I will speak about in another video, because that's another nut to crack with the HSE. And I could go on forever, but as they say, words can't bring a country to arms, but a movement can. What I mean by that is, same as in Belgium, protests will continue around Europe. And in a few years we see just massive protests everywhere. Because that's the way countries can only listen. Anyway, thank you for watching. Subscribe for more and bye.